I'm here, everyone. Give everybody a chance to come in. Having a little bit of technical difficulty as my chairs fade out. I hope everybody's doing okay. For some reason, my camera seems to be frozen. Let me do a check here. Wow, this is interesting. This is the first time I've had this type of technical difficulty. The background is moving, but the camera is frozen. It's frozen. Incredible. Incredible. It's a first for everything. Let me see here how we're going to do this. Maybe if I cut it off and cut it on again. Deactivate and then reactivate. Well, that seems to do it. Incredible. Wow. It's the first time for everything. I haven't seen that type of a technical glitch before. Incredible. How's everybody doing? Thank you for joining. Here we are once again back at BiomedRx TV. Let me bring the tunes down just a little bit. Yesterday we left off, we were talking about brain training 101, and I had a chance to discuss the Mind Alive David Delight Pro and cranial electrotherapy stimulation and audio-visual brain entrainment and neurofeedback. I had a chance to discuss infra-low neurofeedback with a very, very low reward frequency. Alpha theta neurofeedback with 2 reward frequencies. One in the alpha range and the other in the theta range. And synchrony neurofeedback, which is the act of synchronizing the 2 hemispheres of the brain to operate, or training the 2 hemispheres of the brain to operate in synchrony with each other. And we also discussed the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the occipital lobe, and the temporal lobes, as illustrated here. Okay, in this illustration, and what training in different areas does, okay, or what you're focusing on, what you're trying to effect with reference to cognitive function and behavior when training various areas of the brain. Today, we're going to be discussing we're going to go a little bit more specific into, let me do a check. Today, we're going to go into a little bit more into specifics. Oh, wow, can you believe that? Nope, it didn't freeze. We're going to go into the specifics of points. We're going to talk about points, not all of the points, because there are many points on the head, right, on the brain, many points on the neocortex, many points on the scalp that correlate to different areas of the brain that we're training. Okay, but I'm just going to touch on a few. Okay, I'm going to touch on a few. I'm going to give you the benefit of my experience. All right. Now, what we have here are brain maps. Oh, by the way, if you want to call in, if you have questions, I'm going to put the call-in number up here. All right, because if you want to call in, feel free to call. Right. 424-204-2382, the number you see on the screen. You can call in at any time during the broadcast if you have any questions. What we have here are some channel charts. Okay, this is a chart. If you don't mind the telephone number scrolling on top of it, this is a chart of the different points that you place electrodes, EEG, electroencephalograph electrodes, when you are training the brain, or when you're doing a QEEG, or when you're doing any type of brain training. Now, believe it or not, there are actually more points than this, okay? But these are quite a few points, as you can see. If you look at it, what you're looking at is a bird's eye view. So you're looking at a person's head, where I have the NZ at the very top, right underneath BiomedRx TV right there. The NZ, that's actually the nose. That's actually a person's nose, okay? And the FP1 and FP2 are right here, respectively. Over the left eye, FP1, and over the right eye, FP2. Right here in the forehead, okay? And we have several points throughout the scalp that we place for different things, right? So if you're going to be training for executive control or inhibitory control, or if you want to train for focus and concentration, FP1 and FP2 is where you want to train. It's the preferred area of the training. Where you see the telephone number scrolling by, all along the C axis, right, in the central axis, okay, right along where the headphone band would go, that would be the motor cortex and the somatosensory band. These are the areas that you train if you're trying to become more proficient in athletics or in sports, or if you're trying to regain, like I have one client who is recovered from a stroke and operation, and so it's an ongoing struggle with him, and we're doing a lot of training along the motor cortex. Okay, so that's kind of where we're training, and you also want to train the frontal lobe as well. All right, and there are reasons for that. I'm going to get to that in the future. When what you see at the bottom, P3, P4, PZ, right? That 4, 5, and 6. The green and the orange dot, P3 and P4, right? That's right in the parietal lobe. That has to do with spatial awareness, and it also has to do, training there has an effect on spatial, one's sense of spatial awareness, and one's emotional stability, or I guess you would say, bottled up emotions, right? Or emotions that are repressed. As you go further toward the back of the head, those red dots, that's O1 and O2. That's the occipital lobe, right? The occipital lobe processes everything that you see. So it's almost as though what's coming in through your eyes is being reflected off the back of your head like a projector. But that's not actually what's going on. Only my head is actually that empty. But what's going on here is if you want to affect visual acuity, if you are a marksman or a sharpshooter, or if you have skills that require very good visual acuity, or if, like me, you are using neurofeedback as an anti-aging therapy and you simply want to, maintain the eyesight of a young person, then training in the occipital lobe is good. The occipital lobe is also a good place for training away negative emotions too, pent-up emotions. Because as you train on the parietal lobe, like for example, if you're doing alpha theta training and you're trying to unlock someone's repressed emotions, right? You want to start at the parietal lobe, and you kind of want to inch your way down. I mean, I don't even mean inching your way down. I mean millimetering your way down, right? With each successive session. Each successive session, and that way you're really combing through that area of dysregulation that many people accumulate in the parietal and occipital regions as a result of the normal emotional, roller coaster that is life, the things that we go through in life. So that's one chart. We're going to get that out of here. Okay. This is another location chart. Okay. And this one I like. Okay, because it actually explains brain function. So I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. All right. So if you guys can stand not looking at my face for a minute, if you notice here, if you want to train in the frontal lobe, FP1, FP2, the frontal lobe, right? That's the person's nose right there in the middle, that bump at the top. All right. FP1 for attention, FP2 for judgment, right? Restraint of impulses, that's F1 and F2. Okay. Okay. F3 is motor planning. Now I'm going to tell you something about motor planning, and you can see F3 would be right behind, right on the top of the forehead. I'm going to show you my camera in a minute so I can point out where F3 is, because F3 is a location that I like to train very frequently. F3 is what I call the procrastination spot. Okay, F3 right there. And if you train an F3, F4, you're going to find what we say here, motor planning, F3, and F4. Yeah, motor planning once again, right? Motor planning, left upper extremity makes the plan. Okay, so I tend to make a lot of to-do lists. I tend to do a lot of planning, and I tend to really put a lot to plan. Put it that way. All right. F7, verbal expression. F7 is close to what we would call the Broca's area. The Broca's area has to do with the initiation of speech. Okay. And F8 has to do with emotional expression, anger, joy, or happiness, right? Okay. Now we're coming up the middle, up the midline of the head. FZ for working memory and absent-mindedness, right? All right, FZ. And then CZ, which is at the top of the head, which is sensio-motor integration, midline, and the left side, okay? Because we're talking about, like, once again, the motor cortex. When you're going along that line where you see the headphones, where a pair of headphones, a headphone band would go over the top of your head, you're going across your motor cortex, all right? C4, sensio-motor integration, left upper arms and hands, extremities, all right? Left upper arms and hands and extremities. T4 is emotional memory, all right? Now, how much is music able to elicit emotions in you? The temporal lobes that go right here along the tops of your ears have a lot to do with hearing, and they also have a lot to, obviously, because they're in proximity to your ears, but they also have a lot to do with a huge effect on emotional memory. You know, and you know, it's interesting, the effect of sound, the effect that sound and vibration has on our emotions, right? Perhaps, you know, during our journey into this dimension, we had to come into tune with a certain number of frequencies in order to experience life in this dimension. And so sound, being that intimately tied to the center of who and what we are, music has the way to calm us and excite emotions in us. Now we're getting toward the back. Parietal in the center, PZ, cognitive processing, okay? P3, cognitive processing, special temporal info, verbal reasoning. When they say verbal reasoning, now we're looking at another area of the brain called the Wernicke's region. Wernicke's region has to do with finding the right words to say at the right time, right? Articulation of speech, verbal reasoning. So that's valuable. The P3 zone is valuable for that. Once again, C3 is along the somatosensory band and the motor cortex, Freudian slip, the motor cortex. And with the sensio-motor integration here, you're finding that you're actually helping sensio-motor integration, right? And then T3, we've got verbal memory, right? Once again on the other side, right? Also to remember what you see. Incredible. The temporal lobes are very great places to train, all right? Now, right below P3 is T5, verbal understanding, okay? T5 is also a region that is associated with, well, of course, with language as well, and also with pattern recognition. So I guess that's kind of a form of intelligence, or pattern recognition is the purest form of intelligence. Tied to T5 is spelling. Below T5 is spelling. Okay. At P3 we've got cognitive processing, special temporal info, and verbal reasoning. Right? Once again, we're getting close to the Wernicke's area. Now, with the occipital lobe at the very back of the head, we're looking at O1, which is visual processing. If you want to remember, first you have to see it, right? And then OZ in the back of the head for incontinence, all right? And O2 for visual processing, again, on the other side, right? So thank you to Miss Sue Othmer and Siegfried Othmer of the EEG Institute for producing this great that great last chart, because it really tells it like it is, as far as what we train for, when we train, where we train. Here, of course, is another chart. You can see at the top is the nose, right? Is the nose of the individual. Yeah. So training the brain is not only easy, it's fun. Okay. And well, actually, it's neither easy nor fun, but it's very beneficial. It's very beneficial. It's very good for you. The brain is, yeah. Once again, you see the number on the screen. If you want to call in, feel free to call. Feel free to chime in or ask any questions. Say something in the chat so that I know you're here. Yes. Shout out to my kids again. My son is actually on his live broadcast in the next room. It's become a family affair. Let me do a sound check right quick. Make sure everything's cool. Not bad. Like to go over a few of the things that make brain training so important, actually. In case you're not familiar with the benefits of neurofeedback.
Your brain determines every aspect of your personality and consciousness, who you are, and how you navigate through life. It determines all of your behaviors, be they emotional, mental, physical, intellectual, or spiritual. Throughout life, we all accumulate dysregulation in the brain through ongoing stress, traumatic events, boredom, and intense emotion. This is a natural consequence of life. When too much dysregulation is accumulated due to traumatic experiences, it is called post-traumatic stress disorder. However, traumatic experience is only one of the ways that we accumulate dysregulation. Stress, genetics, poor nutrition, illness, injury, and toxic substances also contribute greatly to the accumulation of dysregulation.
Couldn't have said it
The
better
effects,
myself,
short
Doc.
of PTSD, can be anxiety, depression, addiction, sleeping and eating disorders, or any combination thereof. Neurofeedback, or EEG Biofeedback, is the electronic restoration of the brain's natural balance. Many people get gym memberships to improve their healthy bodies. We provide what you might call a gym for the brain. For more than 30 years, this non-invasive technology has provided dramatic results for a multitude of symptoms. Peak performers have benefited from greater mental clarity, the control and elimination of stress, better sleep, consciousness expansion, and an overall higher quality of life. In our therapeutic practice, we treat many clients with autism and autistic spectrum disorder, ADD and ADHD, chronic stress, anxiety and depression, insomnia and other sleeping disorders, PTSD, and migraines. We also help clients to lose weight, stop smoking, or end addiction to drugs and or alcohol. Neurofeedback is also indicated in the recovery from traumatic brain injury or stroke. However, in addition to the therapeutic applications of neurofeedback, we have just as many clients that come to us for what we call elective treatment or peak performance training. Peak performance neurofeedback training helps the brain to maintain a state of calm, focused clarity under the most stressful conditions. This is especially empowering for professional athletes, high-powered executives, entrepreneurs, entertainment professionals, and creatives, or anyone who wants a competitive edge in their chosen profession. So if you want to enjoy more focus, better concentration, better sleep, and an overall higher quality of life, contact us today to see if neurofeedback might be right for you.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yes, so now you understand. And the NeuroFlux protocol, of course, is part of BiomedRx Neurofeedback. It's part of our peak performance protocol. And I think another one of my friends here has something more to add.
NeuroFlux provides state-of-the-art services that empower our clients to maximize their potential. We offer neurofeedback training to help our clients achieve peak performance in their professional and personal endeavors. Neurofeedback, or EEG Biofeedback, is an electronic means of helping the brain regain its natural balance. It can be used to maximize the efficiency and function of the brain and the entire nervous system. Peak performers in golf, professional sports, business, and the entertainment industry have been using neurofeedback to excel in their professions for years. Neurofeedback helps the mind remain calm, clear, and focused under the most stressful conditions. Our clients report better sleep, improvements in relationships, and an overall higher quality of life. But most importantly, they improve in the performance of the things that are important to them and accomplish their goals. This is the objective of peak performance training. Neurofeedback also helps relieve conditions such as anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, stress, and PTSD. Sports teams have found it not only valuable for helping their players perform at peak levels, but also in the treatment of traumatic brain injury. Neurofeedback has also proven effective for weight loss and smoking cessation. If you would like to know more about the NeuroFlux system of self-improvement, call us today to schedule a free initial consultation.
Wow. Yes, well, there you go. Here we are. Let me check out my live stream stats, see what's going on. So like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to call in if you have any questions about brain training. Uh-oh. Is it time for me to shout out to my daughter Katie in Philadelphia? I think she got my text that I'm on live right now. Shout out to Katie. Say something in chat so your daddy knows you're here if you're actually watching. And thank you if you're watching, if you actually are watching. For me to shout out to my daughter. Very nice, very nice. So hopefully you caught the lecture earlier when we talked about the different points on the brain where we train and what we train for. The more you know your way around the head, around the neocortex, the better you can train, the more effectively you can train, right? As everyone knows, you can always go to BiomedRxCBD.com and purchase some gold label CBD oil, right? Let me put that up here. BiomedRxCBD.com. That's where you need to go. Okay. We start at 1,000 milligram strength. That is most of my competitors' highest milligram strength is 1,000, and of course BiomedRx goes up to 10,000 milligram strength. Okay, yes, we go there. So if you want to get some CBD oil, okay, to put the whole CBD oil question to rest, get yourself some delicious strawberry peach flavored 10,000 milligram strength BiomedRx CBD, okay? All right. I'm going to be going live again and discussing some biomagnetic pairs. We're going to be talking about specific biomagnetic pairs, okay, in a future live session. But today is specifically for brain training. I'm going to give you a recap of what I was saying earlier, or what I was saying yesterday. Get yourself some haritaki, kadukai podi, which is the dried pulp of the fruit from the Terminalia chibula plant, which grows in India and Nepal and throughout Asia. It is the active ingredient in about 70% of all Ayurvedic medications coming out of Nepal and India, and is considered the mother of all herbs, or the king of all herbs in Ayurvedic medications. And honestly, I can testify. I just took some. I feel really good. It increases the oxygen in your blood, and it also obviously increases the oxygen in your brain, and it cleanses. It cleanses the brain. It cleanses the pineal gland. Cleanses the pineal gland, which gets rid of the calcification that comes as a result of using fluoride toothpaste. So I highly recommend you get some haritaki and start taking some a little bit every day. They say that if you rub it on your gums, that you can manifest wealth. I can understand a little bit of validity to that, because by rubbing it on your gums, you can also increase the amount of oxygen that is being fed to your brain. There's not a very long trip from the mouth to the brain. And so I can totally understand that. But definitely get yourself some Haritaki, and definitely stop using toothpaste that has any fluoride in it. You don't want to put fluoride in your brain. You don't want to calcify your pineal gland by using fluoridated toothpaste. That's another tip, another thing that you can do for yourself. Also, I made a few videos about the Scalp Elixir, which is a combination of Haritaki and dimethyl sulfoxide for helping to cleanse the brain. And also, well, of course, BiomedRx CBD, right? CBD oil, which will help you reach that alpha state much more easily and be in a more relaxed state. And we also have CBG, cannabigerol. Cannabigerol is another one of the more than 125 cannabinoids that are found in the cannabis plant. And cannabigerol, well, it feels good. I mean, the formula is called the happy formula because that's what people have been reporting to us that they feel as a result of taking this. And it's lighter. What the effects of CBG are lighter than those of CBD. Okay? So you're not going to feel quite as, sleepy, I guess you could say. But you're going to find it easier to articulate speech. So perhaps it affects the Broca's region and or the Wernicke's region. But for whatever reason it does, it makes it easier to talk and it makes it easier to articulate speech. So we call that the happy formula. You see what I'm saying? Get yourself some happy formula over here at BiomedRxCBD.com. Okay? It sounds like my son won in the next room. Did you win, Kai? Congratulations. Congratulations. So you can also watch my son on KaiLockett.com, who's also broadcasting live as we speak. Remember, you can always call in, right? If you have any questions. With brain training, remember, you want to do your sessions as close together as possible. You want to do your sessions as frequently as possible in close interval. Okay, that's something that you want to keep in mind with any kind of brain training. My son and I, of course, we do neurofeedback practically every day. I'm about to put my son on neurofeedback right now. And in addition to neurofeedback, we're going to be starting hyperbaric oxygen therapy dives. We're going to try to do 40 dives in close interval in the very near future. We've been working with advanced hyperbarics in, I think it's Orange, California, and here in Southern California. And I highly recommend them if you want to do hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy also promotes neurodendritic plasticity. It definitely makes your brain grow. It makes your brain stronger. It makes you produce more dendrites, which is very good, very positive. And it's something you want to do, you know? I don't know how well. I don't know if you guys can hear my son out there in the next room. It's pretty incredible. So thank you once again for joining. It's tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to work anymore on brain training unless I actually go through some demonstration and show you guys some brain training. But as it looks now, I think tomorrow we may actually start talking about some biomagnetic pairs, okay? So, and that's always good, all right? That's always good. And if we're able to discuss biomagnetic pairs, if you have any questions for pairs that you would like me to discuss, then by all means, feel free to send me an email at info@biomedrx.tv. Oh, in fact, I want to give a shout out to a biomagnetic pair therapy client who I made a promise to yesterday that I am going to be discussing Lyme disease, and I'm going to be discussing Lyme disease very, very soon, okay? So thank you very much. I had to finish up and show these points because I forgot to mention them on my last video about brain training. Duh, too much brain training. So now that brain training is out of the way, we're going to move forward with biomagnetic pairs. I was going to talk about obesity and addiction and other issues, but because you sent me the email that you sent me about your daughter, I want to help you help your daughter as quickly as possible. So that's the very next video that we're going to be working on, our live video for tomorrow, I promise you. Okay, so I'm going to be doing research on Lyme's disease, and I'm going to be coming up with the best solutions that I can come up for you tomorrow, and we're just going to keep on working with it. I want to thank you for your email. I want to thank all of you for sending emails, but I want to thank you for your email specifically, ma'am, and you know who you are. I'm going to mention your name tomorrow. I'm going to give you a shout out tomorrow. I really appreciate you telling me about your situation, and I want to do my best to help you. And that's what we're here for, okay, here at BiomedRx. In the meantime, I want everyone to stay kind, because kind not only is the new sexy, kind is the only sexy. That's the BiomedRx way. Stay blessed and stay healthy. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching BiomedRx TV once again. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.